Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Little quick one before we do go any further. Just put a ooh cheeky waffles in the chat if you do still listen to that intro. I want to see how many. But anyway, our first story comes from Fuck My Fucking Life and says, am I the arsehole for telling my girlfriend that we need to change the way we cook our dinner? I, 25 male, have been in a relationship with my girlfriend, 23 female, for 2.5 years, and she moved in with me 2 months ago. Our relationship is working out great. We rarely fight, and even if we do get into disagreements, we usually are able to talk it through without ever getting agitated or aggressive. We both have different working hours. She works from 8 AM to 4 PM and I work from 10 AM to 7 PM. So every day I make breakfast for both of us and she makes dinner. Now my girlfriend likes her food a lot spicier than I do. I can handle spice, but I try to avoid it because eating spicy foods on a regular basis causes acne breakouts, heartburn, and sometimes even diarrhea. Now, ever since we moved in together and she has started cooking dinner, she likes to make the food spicier as per her taste buds. So almost 4 to 5 days a week, we eat some sort of stew/soup, which will have serrano peppers, some Thai/Indian curries, which have a lot of chilies. Even while making pasta, she likes to add either Calabrian chilies or jalapenos to the sauce, and honestly, it became too much for me. I had really bad diarrhea almost twice a week. My acne is so bad that I have had co-workers and friends straight up tell me that my face looks disgusting. And I take antacids/anti-inhibitors almost every day. I tried to tell my girlfriend to add lesser chili/make 2 batches of the food or maybe add hot sauce to her portion. But every time she just tells me to man up and that if I can't handle a little spice, I should adapt since it's not always going to be in my control. Last night after dinner, I told my girlfriend that we need to figure out some other way to make dinner which keeps both of us satisfied, because I can't keep eating like this at all. Once again, I was met with the same thing she says always, but I held my ground this time and told her that I can in no way continue to eat the food she is making because it is actively damaging my health, and told her that I am willing to cook my own dinner from now on. She's been giving me the cold shoulder ever since and saying that I do not value her contributions to the household and that she will now have to do twice the amount of work because I am being a baby over spicy foods. Am I in the wrong here? Edit, I've been reading comments and will talk to my girlfriend about this once again tonight. Thank you for all your advice. I came into this thinking this was going to be a pretty non-dramatic story, but that pissed me off. Your girlfriend is literally making you sick every day and calling you a baby for asking her to stop. The man up response to you having diarrhea twice a week is absolutely wild. I think you offered like reasonable compromises and she shot them all down. And now she seems mad that you won't allow her to make you ill anymore. I mean, what the fuck's that about? This isn't about sort of spice tolerance, it's about basic respect for your health. Just imagine a partner saying that to you. You know, they filled it with whatever spice, and because, you know, everyone has different spice tolerances, and you get told to man up because it's making you ill. That is awful. Any loving partner would say to you, no problem, I'll just put it in my portion from now on. It's really not that fucking difficult, is it? But a commenter says, quick question. If you are making a savory breakfast, do you make hers differently than yours since she likes spice more? Opie says, so it depends. If I'm just making some scrambled eggs and I make mine and then add hot sauce while mixing her eggs. But I sometimes make homemade sausage patties and those I just make the same sausage mix. Then after cooking them, I'll serve a sausage sandwich or whatever with some pickled peppers or stuff. Commenter says, not the arsehole. It's not being picky. This is regarding your health. When a person literally gives you an illness through his or her cooking, it's just right to say something. Opie says, I was wondering if maybe I went about it the wrong way or if my words could be interpreted as rude. Thus I made this post. Commenter says, ugh, Reddit really would have us believe that nobody actually likes their romantic partners anymore. I know it's an incredibly skewed sample population, just like how very few people who are happy with their sex life write to Dan Savage. But if a partner can't hear, This thing you're doing is hurting me, and respond with, let's see if we can find a solution. They don't deserve your love or respect. Opie says, after reading your comment, I want to defend my girlfriend so hard, but I can't even argue with you. Maybe the amount of love I'm giving her is not reciprocated by her. I don't know if that is the reality, but I can't bring myself to accept it. Commenter says, I think on Reddit, we as bystanders can be a bit quick to jump to you should break up, because we only see the thing that is bothering the person posting and not the totality of the relationship. So I will just say, this is an area where your girlfriend does in fact need to change her behavior. She cannot continue downplaying your discomfort and health, and the phrase man up needs to exit her vocabulary yesterday. I'm sure there are areas in your relationship where you're accidentally kind of a dick too and could stand to work on yourself, but when you are discussing this particular issue with your girlfriend, don't let her attempt to avoid accountability by pulling some version of, well, you do this unrelated thing that annoys me. That can be a conversation for another day. Opie responded to that saying, absolutely. For example, my girlfriend loves cosplaying and stuff like that, but I was never into it. I poked fun of her regarding this a couple of times. In hindsight, it was not fun, just plain mean for someone who's passionate about it. When she called me out on it, I stopped immediately. It was probably a whole year after the incident when I realized that I was being a dick to her. I think this is a similar situation, though I hope my girlfriend will soon understand. I love her very much and would hate to lose her over something which can be corrected pretty easily. Thanks for your kind words, Redditor. So, nearly 3 weeks after that, OP came in with an update. It says, it's been some time since my last post. Things have been a downward slope ever since. The entire fiasco ended 4 to 5 days ago, so I figured I'd post an update cause might as well. So, as I had mentioned in an edit on the last post, I decided to talk to my girlfriend about my problems once again. That night I came home a little later due to some work, and my girlfriend had made an Asian flavored curry of sorts. Once again, too hot for me to handle. I had one bite, could not eat at all. I told my girlfriend once again that I cannot eat the food that she is making since it's borderline poisoning me. She rolled her eyes and just told me to fill up on plain noodles since she can't be bothered to make something else for me as she is tired. I told her that since I am always not eating the food she makes, would simply start making my own dinners from now on. She blew up at me saying that if I make my own dinners then she'll be forced to make her own breakfast and she does not have time to do that. I had not even said anything about the breakfast arrangement and I would have been happy to make both of our breakfasts, but she was in no mood to listen. She ranted about the smallest things like how I didn't bother changing into home clothes before I eat dinner. I just clean up, have dinner, then get into the shower to get ready for bed. Or how I get up later than her. She has an 8 AM job, not me. I still get up in time to make her breakfast between 7:30 AM. She ranted about all these things for maybe 10 to 15 minutes. I asked her where this was suddenly coming from, since she had never mentioned anything of the sort to me. She went silent at this point and just told me to give her space and that she did not want to talk to me for the time being. I just went into the guest room and slept away from her that night. For the next couple of days we did not talk much. Each made our own different meals and stayed in different rooms. On Saturday, I asked her if she wanted to go for brunch since I figured spending some quality time would make us a little relaxed and give us time to talk. When we came home again, I asked her if she wanted to talk about what had happened the other night. Again, she got quiet and told me to just forget it and move on, and that the system we had in place for the past couple of days was working for both of us. I was confused because we were now living like 2 roommates in a shared house and not like 2 people in love. I told her that this system was in no way working for me. I can't just stay with someone I love without saying a single word, eating different meals, sitting at the same table, sharing no time in the house. She got even more upset at me, saying that I was ignoring her happiness, and got annoyed when I said that I can't just ignore my own feelings. That's when she dropped the words, "Why can't you be more like Colin?" I immediately asked who was Colin, and she stayed silent. After a lot of questioning, she said he was a guy at her workplace. Colin is in a relationship with some other girl in the same office. They're good friends with my girlfriend. They talk about their relationship with my girlfriend, and it seems that they have similar taste in almost all things like movies, hobbies, food, travel, etc. Me and my girlfriend, on the other hand, have about a 50-50 ratio. I don't have any hobbies as such other than that I like watches and watching tennis matches, while hers are cosplaying and reading. I work in a highly technical field, designing construction equipment, while she, and by extension Colin and his girlfriend, work in a very creative field, fashion and ornaments designing. So my girlfriend essentially has built up a mental image that Colin is in a perfect relationship because he and his girlfriend have the same exact interests, and to be honest, both of them have much more similar interests with my girlfriend than me. So now my girlfriend wanted me to become more like Colin, so that our relationship can become more like theirs. I tried to tell her that all relationships are different, and the only thing which matters is if we're happy with each other, whether we love each other or not. She tried to end the conversation saying that she is not comfortable talking about this with me, to which I said that if she is not going to talk about this with me, who else would she talk to? She just said that she was going to stay over at a friend's house and we would talk tomorrow, and she left. At this point I was overwhelmed and confused, so I decided to spend the rest of the day searching for good couples counselors and therapists, since I could see which way our relationship was going to go. I woke up on Sunday morning and she was already home. I cooked breakfast for both of us, but she had already eaten at a friend's house. She started the conversation by saying how bad she had been and that I deserved better. I was a little confused because rather than apologizing, she was just stating all the things which made her a bad person. I told her to just come to the point, and she told me she had been approached by Colin and his girlfriend to join their relationship as a throuple. I was silent for some time and just asked her to pack up and leave. She tried to hug me and talk to me, but I just pushed her off. Told her to give me the keys before leaving and went into the extra room and cried my heart out. She came into my room maybe 30 to 40 minutes later, started crying after seeing me. She started cursing herself out again and saying that I deserved better, but I just told her tears meant nothing to me. That night, I got a call from an unknown number. It was fucking Colin. He started swearing at me about how I dared to make my girlfriend cry and that he will fuck me up if he ever sees me near her. I hung up on him after telling him that he can have her himself and I'd rather die than see her again. A couple of days later, while leaving for work, I saw that someone had keyed my car and destroyed the plants I keep outside my front door. I have a suspicion about who it was, but don't have any proof, so I'm not filing any charges. I will set up cameras around my property soon though. As for my girlfriend, she has tried calling me multiple times, but I decline every time. At first she left voicemails about how sorry she is and she just wants to talk once to get closure. But after I did not call back even once, now she is leaving comments about my past traumas and fears that I had talked to her about. Even speaking about the multiple times she had Colin and his girlfriend over to my house when I was not home and telling me what all they had done. I'm so disgusted by the fact that I wasted almost 3 years of my life with her that started having some disturbing thoughts about myself due to this. I've been seeing a therapist regularly, also planning a weekend getaway with 2 of my best friends to Vegas for some chill time with them. Slowly but surely I'm getting better, majorly due to my friends. Don't know where I'd be without those 2. I'm considering selling this house and moving elsewhere due to security concerns and also some emotional reasons, but I'm not sure if that would be the right move. I'm also worried that she might share my address with my family members, whom I'm no contact with. I think I added this in a comment too, so this is another factor. I'm trying to get an internal transfer at my current company since I like the working culture, but if that does not work, I might just look for jobs in other cities too. I don't know. I haven't had enough time to deal through all of this shit as of now. My main focus was just making sure I don't do something hugely damaging to myself. Now that I've had 2 to 3 weeks to cool down, get at least some amount of control over myself, I'll start looking at the longer picture. I don't think there'll be any more updates after this. Hopefully my life just becomes a little boring after this so that I can live peacefully for some time now. Thanks to all the strangers who helped me here. You all saved me from a disaster waiting to happen. The top commenters on this one said, "So I love spicy food, like super hot, and my now wife, while we were dating, said, 'Oh, this is too spicy for me.' I said, 'Oh, okay, I'll add peppers at the end for me next time.' And I did that, and that was the end of the issue. Your ex is truly unhinged. And yeah, you should move. Not the arsehole on any level. She sucks." And the commenter says, "Not the arsehole. Sorry for you. This is her issue, not yours. She cheated in your house and then bragged about it. You'll realize in time that she was so wrong for you." Gee bloody whiz. I mean, it's a bullet dodged in the end, right? I mean, What's that Colin guy up to? After he seemed to have got OP's girlfriend, he was still threatening OP to come beat him up afterwards. I mean, what was that all about? And I agree with the comments. In the end, OP's going to see that she was absolutely wrong for him and hopefully move on to better things. But what do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now, our next story is titled, "Am I the arsehole for refusing to miss my brother's wedding because my work can't find coverage for those days?" My brother is getting married next week. He got engaged in February and told me maybe a month ago that he is getting married on May 19th. He and my sister-in-law aren't into traditional big weddings. My brother lives in our hometown in the Midwest and I live in the Southwest. I told my work almost immediately about my brother's wedding and wrote it down on a piece of paper. I also was instructed to tell the lead float tech, it's a pharmacy, so she could try and find a floater, to cover me while I'm gone. I sent a reminder last Friday to this lead float tech about the days I would be gone, and I didn't get a reply until yesterday, that she couldn't find anyone, almost with the impression that I wasn't allowed to go to my brother's wedding. I texted my boss immediately about this. I get that they're going to be short-handed. I'll mention it here that the lead float tech is an astronomical bitch, to the point where literally everyone who works with her hates her guts, except for the district manager, who she is besties with. But I've also gotten the impression from the rest of the staff that I'm being selfish, that I want to go home for a few days to see my brother get married. Look, in 20 years I won't give a shit about this job. I'm in a grad school to gain a teaching credential, so not my final destination in my career. But I will give a shit about having missed my brother's wedding. I don't intend on missing it, and I think it's rather ridiculous to ask someone to miss a close family member's wedding because you're short-handed on technicians, especially when I gave plenty of notice in regards to non-paid time off. Am I the arsehole? And basically the update comes within the same post, so all the comments are talking about that. We'll jump straight into the update, which says today was awful and humiliating. My boss basically told me she tried to accommodate me, but that the days she couldn't would be considered unexcused absences. Also, I'm told to apologize to a pharmacist because I made an offhanded negative comment about Trump, I guess. I nearly started crying and almost left. I got through the shift. Update 2. I sent in a letter of immediate resignation on Friday. It said, "To whom it concerns, effective immediately, I'm resigning from my position as a certified pharmacy technician at place of employment in this city. I appreciate the job opportunity, but I do not feel I am a good fit for this position. I have several reasons, but the biggest was the double standards that I experienced. When I mentioned that I was accepted into graduate school to pursue my teaching license, I was met with what I can only perceive as hostility towards me furthering my education. Other employees seemed to be accommodated, but my schooling seemed to be merely an inconvenience. I was also frequently griped at for not doing certain tasks, which I would do immediately upon being asked, when other employees would not be, often because they were talking amongst themselves. It was only ever not okay when I was doing something wrong. I was also caught off guard at the unprofessionalism displayed by the float tech, who frequently berated and beat down others almost as sport. I told her a month ago that I needed time off to attend my brother's wedding, only to get an aggressive text on Monday afternoon of this week that she couldn't find anyone to cover me. I was not told of any other way to put in for time off, nor was I given logging to employee management system. So I did my due diligence in notifying my job that I needed time off for my older brother's wedding. When I was told that me missing next week would be considered an unexcused absence, I was deeply hurt. In regards to lead float tech, I've worked with difficult people before, but I've never worked with anybody who seems to take pleasure in putting others down. If I'm being honest, my one hesitation of leaving this job is that I'll be allowing her to come back as a floater to the store. And I don't think coworker 1, coworker 2, and coworker 3 deserve that. As someone who intends on being a teacher, I don't tolerate a culture where those who bully others are rewarded. I don't intend on reliving high school. Ultimately, I think it would be mutually beneficial for me to resign so I can focus on my studies and you can hire somebody who fits better. I do appreciate the opportunity and some of the pharmacists and technicians were a joy to work with. I just do not feel like this is a good match for me. All the best, OP. I got a 2-worded reply from the district manager. Thank you. He's bitchy lead float text bestie, lol. Thank you for pushing me to be bold and brave. The top commenter on this one said, not the arsehole, however that partying shot at a resignation letter doesn't put you in the best of light. I'm old school. I wouldn't use the resignation letter the way you did unless I intended to file an EEOC, complaint citing harassment. Calling her out by name and trash talking her like that doesn't make you look professional. Always be professional, especially when the other party is not. Because if this lead has been poisoning your reputation with a district manager and you wrote and submitted your resignation like that, he would have all that poisoned version of you verified. Hope you reply saying, yeah, you're probably technically correct, but damn, if it didn't feel good, I'll probably never get this opportunity again, so I took it. Edit. I also remembered one thing. When I wrote it, I thought of what Laura Ingalls would tell me. You have to tell people how you feel. I was watching Little House on the Prairie reruns while I studied today and remembered thinking that. Hill Method says, dude, just quit. Who cares? I quit my job to go to Thanksgiving. I quit another because I needed time before the interview for another job and they refused to let me leave even though I wasn't doing anything. I don't know why people will sacrifice their lives over employers that don't give a fuck about you and a job that doesn't benefit you. Deprogram yourself from the capitalist brainwashing that says you need to be miserable to survive and go to your brother's wedding. When finding a new job, 1, don't use them as a reference. 2, when asked why you left, say you needed to leave an extremely toxic work environment for a better one, that you'll be willing to give your all. Imaginary says not the arsehole. A, wanting time off for any reason is a reasonable request. Wanting time off to go to your brother's wedding is even more reasonable. B, a month notice is okay. Generally, I like getting a week notice for every day requested, but that's not always possible. And it looks like you did that. That said, I had an employee give me 2 weeks notice that they needed 6 weeks off for a major trip. I've also had employees give me 4 months notice they needed a specific day off. C, it sucks for your colleagues, yes, but they're taking their annoyance out on the wrong person. D, being short-handed on a bad day can happen. You deal with it and you do your best to make sure it doesn't happen again. Being perpetually short-handed is a strategy. Not your fault, it's not the right one. I was kind of on the fence about giving both barrels in that resignation letter because, you know, people can manipulate those things as well, right? But also at the same time, I don't blame OP for doing it. I've been in a exit interview, which sometimes companies do, and I was basically leaving that company because of my manager, because quite frankly, they was absolutely useless. They pushed to get that position and pushed someone out who was a really good manager. So I was a bit pissed off about that. And in that exit interview, I could have sat there and said, oh, you know, I'm just moving on to something else, a new challenge or something along those lines. But I thought, you know what, fuck it. And told him exactly how we'd been treated, etc. And I knew the person giving the exit interview was a friend of hers because, wow, I think it was a day later that my manager, the one that I was leaving because of, requested a meeting with me and another colleague of ours. And was asking, oh, so what do you think's wrong with me? And I was polite about it. I wasn't rude because in general, you know, she wasn't a bad person. Like when we'd have conversations about daily life and stuff. But there was times when, you know, she wasn't backing us up with stuff to do with health and safety. They was getting us to do some ridiculous stuff sometimes. And she would back the managers up on that. And then when stock take would come, she'd try and throw us under the bus. We just wouldn't see her half the time. She wasn't a manager and just a pain in the ass in the end. But anyway, in the meeting, was professional about it and said, you know, we just felt unsupported in certain areas. And she just started crying in front of us. And I felt bad, but at the same time, I was like, no, you know, this isn't me who's causing this issue. And then she left the room and then was hugging her friend who gave me my exit interview. And I was just like, what? And look, I got no hard feelings against her now. I'd meet up and have a drink with her and have a chat, but I don't think it would be the same way. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.